process of moving your whole operation from Hong Kong to Singapore. Why is that?
Well, actually, we already moved the whole operation to Singapore when we listed on NASDAQ. Actually, the change now is that myself, I'm moving from Hong Kong to Singapore. I think we've now got to a point, I think Jamie Dimon highlighted it today, that it's really hard to be a CEO of a global business and not be able to travel freely. I mean, I've done 7 quarantines in Hong Kong, so I've been a little bit restricted over the last year and a half. And, you know, everything that's going on in Singapore, it just makes it a logical place for us to be.
In the end, it is about what regulators allow you to do, and the regulator in Singapore seems a bit more progressive compared to elsewhere in the world. What do you expect? How do you expect the crypto space to develop over the next few years?
Yeah, look, I think your point there is very important. Singapore is a regulator that's taken an innovative approach, and that's what you need to do with an industry that's so new. We don't know what's around the corner, how it's going to adapt, and we've seen regulators really actually cost their citizens opportunity by not being a bit flexible. You know, obviously China's made some fairly bold moves over the last couple of months, but even the US, when they failed to issue an ETF approval for 8 years, you know, that's a 12,000% opportunity cost for people that wanted to access Bitcoin in their savings.
Richard, it's Yvonne in Hong Kong. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, 7 quarantines, that does not feel good, of course. I just was wondering when it comes to the regulation side. I mean, Binance, with the ban in Singapore and the fallout from there, has that changed how you do business and how you comply with the rules and regulations there?
I think that, you know, the key here is that we've always complied with regulations, and we've always been someone that is effectively focused on being someone that regulators can speak to and understand how regulatory frameworks should progress in this brand new industry. So we spend a lot of time with MAS, just talking to them in their initial sort of exploration of the area, how to think about derivatives, how to think about the Payment Services Act. We were involved in that from the very beginning. Equally, you know, if you look at our FCA-regulated custodian in DigiVault, that is something that we worked with the UK regulator for some time. We ended up actually being the first entity to be regulated under that FCA AML-D5 framework.
And in terms of just flows, I'm just wondering, given just the moves that we've been seeing in Bitcoin, people are saying, look, the market's getting more mainstream now. You also have more bets that this is more of an inflationary hedge. Where are you seeing flows? What are you seeing the most action right now on your platforms?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, transaction flow generally across the Bitcoin network, if you look at the average transaction, has increased by about 5 times over the last few months. That's really indicative of institutions really coming to play in this space. We've seen that, you know, our volumes are up about 20 to 30x since we listed on NASDAQ on the exchange, and that's mainly been from institutional flow coming in and participating. Anything from corporates to hedge funds to venture firms to family offices in the corporate space have been very, very active. And then obviously you've seen all the moves that we've seen recently around, you know, PIMCO announcing, Rick Rieder from BlackRock, the fixed income CIO there. A lot of fixed income people starting to move into this space, and you know, that's fairly natural. You're talking about inflation. When you're looking at bonds across the world, $18 trillion of paper with negative yields on them, that's indicative of a manipulated market. And everybody's looking, okay, where is the escape valve to this manipulated market? And they're seeing the moves in Bitcoin. And that's exactly what's happening.
But not everyone is buying into your argument. We have the BOE weighing in on it, saying that Bitcoin is an increasing risk to financial stability. I mean, and you can understand why. There's been so much volatility. Retail investors are getting in without even understanding the asset.
Yeah, I think volatility is just natural at where we are in this stage of the asset cycle. Really, we're at a very early stage of adoption. I would argue that we're just coming into the early majority phase if you look at things on a sort of a bell curve of adoption. You know, the Bank of England has obviously struggled to fix their narrative around inflation, and things are going to get blamed. I think Bitcoin will end up being blamed by a number of central banks for inflation, where in fact it's the way that you can hedge against it. But yeah, obviously all these central banks want to be putting in place a central bank digital currency to have further controls over the way that people spend their money, but also help people through programs like UBI and these sorts of things. So central banks are very motivated to pull people away.
You mentioned CBDC. Lots of central banks are looking into that, and some say that CBDC will kill Bitcoin. Your thoughts on that?
Well, Bitcoin is a decentralized money, so it's the exact opposite of a CBDC. CBDCs are, they are going to bring benefits, certainly, to citizens, but they also come with a few sinister concerns around them, around deeply negative interest rates as a potentiality when you remove cash from a system. You take, for example, what's happening in Switzerland with negative interest rates having been going on for so long. People are actually taking 1,000 franc banknotes out of the bank and sticking them in safety deposit vaults. You can't do that when there's a CBDC, so rates can go significantly more negative.
And Richard, there's just so much hype around the metaverse right now. I'm just wondering, what does that mean for cryptocurrencies? What sort of, I guess, boost or tailwind does that bring?
Actually, Yvonne, that's a fantastic segue in, because if you think about the metaverse, and I had recent experience with this, within this, when I was doing my 7th quarantine, one of my investors suggested I buy a VR headset so we could have a meeting. We ended up having this meeting, and you're sitting there with all these things, and it really is a different world. The future is here, but the idea that gold should be the hardest money in that type of a world is really starting to become illogical as an argument. And I would say that the metaverse is really starting to help people understand the way the whole world is going, and that we're moving towards a more digital world. And so logically, we're going to end up with a much more digital money.
Richard, we can't let you go without getting your prediction for where Bitcoin will be year-end, end of 2022 as well. So where's it headed? To the moon.
To the moon, most likely, yeah. Yeah, we've got Dems calling for a 4th round of stimulus.
What are you calling? What's the number?
Well, for Bitcoin, I think, I recently on Bloomberg said 175,000 for the end of the year. That was then prolonged a little bit by Elon Musk and China. But I still think that we're going to see Bitcoin north of 100,000 by the end of the year. And I think in this cycle, even as early as March, I think we'll be looking at 175,000.
175,000 bucks. Yvonne, are you buying or not? Well, there you have it. Richard Byworth, CEO of Eqonex.